Hey there and happy Saturday, it's Chala and I'm back for another Floral Frenzy themed card for the Scrap and Stamp blog. I'll leave that link down below if you'd like to check it out. I'm going to be using the Concord 9th Blooms Fill-In stamp. This is an older set, but it is actually one of my favorite floral stamps. There are also coordinating dies, however I'm just going to be using the stamps for the 3 cards I create today. For this first card, I used the Blueprint Sketch Distress ink and my Tim Holtz stamp platform to create the background with that largest of the stamps. I highly recommend using some type of stamp platform, as you will need to give this stamp multiple stampings to get that ink to lay down. And you're going to want to use a little bit of CPR type pressure to make sure that you get a good impression. Now this stamp measures just a bit larger than an A2 size standard card, so this gives you an option to have a larger card or to trim it down, which I'm going to do. The next step is to layer on that flower and leaves. So I'm going to be doing this with my acrylic block and the help of my Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station. This is a really great metal platform with large magnets that can hold your cardstock down as you move back and forth between multiple stamping. And it's really great if you have small children and fur babies who like to move around your work surface, and sometimes that moves your paper. So here I've accidentally dropped my stamp, but I'm going to be pulling out my mono sand eraser here, and this helps me to lift off that ink in that area that it fell onto, and it did a really great job. But I actually end up trimming that piece off in the end anyways, but if you do make that mistake, go ahead and get yourself one of those sandpaper erasers. They work great. Alright, so the colors that I've used here for the Distress inks are the Squeeze Lemonade, Wild Honey, Ripe Persimmon, Peeled Paint, Shabby Shutters, Antique Linen, and Weathered Wood. So I'm just going ahead and laying those images onto my acrylic block and going back and forth between the colors. I like that this card actually doesn't have any pink in it. Typically I'll put some sort of pink in my cards, I feel like, and this one is just oranges, greens, blues, and yellows, and I really quite like that look. So just finishing off here with the Antique Linen and the Weathered Wood on those little bud portions of those flowers, and adding the berries again with that Ripe Persimmon. I end up cutting this panel in half on an angle and trim it down, and then I can actually create 2 cards with this. The sentiment is the "You Matter to Me" phrase, which I stamped in that Distress Blueprint Sketch ink again. I used some Nuvo Crystal drops in Midnight Blue, Woodland Green, and English Mustard. Now, as you can see, I didn't do a very good job of that. That's something I will have to practice with. I should have shaken these up a bit more and practiced on some paper, but that's okay. We live, we learn. I'll end up peeling them off and redoing them again later. So I wanted to keep that in to show you that we all make mistakes. Alright, so the next card I'm moving on to here is actually stamped in the same fashion. So I just used the Versamark ink there to use, what is that, the watermark ink, sorry, I had a brain fart there, and some gold embossing to create that main background. And then I'll link to all the Distress inks that I used for this on the blog. Again, I trimmed this panel in half, and I am adhering down some different pieces of cardstock that are complementary to the colors that I've chosen. I'm using some strips to kind of hide that join here. I'm also using the Birch Press Designs Joy Sugar Script die for this, and I really like the different layers that it gives you for this. It gives you that shadow as well as the main text sentiment there, the scripty sentiment. And I actually layer a couple different colors together, just offset a little bit just to give it a different type of shadow as well, kind of peeking through there. And the great thing about this stamp set is you can use it for any themed card, really. Weddings, birthdays, Christmas, Mother's Day. That's what I really love about the versatility of this stamp set. So there we go, we have my first my first Christmas card of the year. I've added some sequins, and I'm using my glossy accents for that, as well as my jewel picker. And then you can see on the right here, I didn't like that original color just on its own, so I will add that second sentiment on top of the first, just offset a bit, and I'll show you a closer look at that in a minute here. And here's a look at the finished card. I love the metallic look that that gold embossing powder gave. And you can also see here how I layered that sentiment together with the different colors. Here's a quick look at a birthday card that I created using black onyx ink for the background and some beautiful light pinks. I'll have those colors listed over at the Scrap and Stamp blog, but this just gives you an idea that you can use this stamp for many occasions. Thank you birthday, Mother's Day. It's really endless what you can do with this stamp set. And I'll give you a little closer look here at how that turned out. Those flowers are just so pretty. Well, as always, I want to thank you guys so much for stopping by. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and like it, as well as subscribe to see more. Again, guys, I want you to have a fantastic day and stay crafty.